Hi there, I'm Dr. Andrea Shanowski from Health and Horsepower, and I wanted to talk today a little bit more about how chiropractic works. I think so many times when people are coming into my office, they have never experienced chiropractic before. They may have been to a chiropractor and didn't have a great experience or didn't feel any relief afterwards, or sometimes they've heard horror stories and are scared to death to know, number one, what's going on, but also how I'm going to treat them in the office and if they're going to get results, because they've heard that it's not that safe. So I want to talk a little bit more about what chiropractic is and what it isn't, but also talk a little bit more about what we do in my office specifically to reduce any risks that we have, as well as how we make sure we are as safe as possible for you and your family too. So number one thing I hear from a lot of people is, well, I believe in chiropractic. Well, let me tell you this, you don't have to believe in it or not because it does work. Chiropractic is absolutely amazing for physical issues with your joints. So whether that is having headaches coming from your neck and muscles and nerves in the upper neck, whether that is neck and back pain, whether you're having issues with shoulder pain, or carpal tunnel symptoms, whether you're having issues with sciatic pain or knee issues or hip pain or even sciatic issues, or in some cases even plantar fasciitis, because in my office we treat the whole entire body. The whole premise of chiropractic is that we are taking the joints of your spine. So if we look at a model, we have the bones of our spine are separated with a cartilage disc in between, and we have a hole that's created in the space between those, which is where your nerve comes through. So with chiropractic, we're making sure that the joints are moving properly, because if the joints are not moving properly, if there's extra wear and tear, whether that is from repetitive motions or previous injuries or even previous traumas that you've had that's caused damage to those joints, we're trying to make sure that those joints stay moving, because when they stop moving, the weight of your body actually presses down and will actually speed up the degeneration process in those joints. So we can start to see where the joints themselves wear down the cartilage, and then that space gets smaller. And as your cartilage space gets smaller, the space in the hole gets smaller, and that starts putting pressure not only on your nerves, but we start to form eventually arthritis around that hole and arthritis on the front of the joint. And that arthritis starts forming these large bone spurs, not just in front, but all the way around. So we can have razor sharp bone putting pressure on our nerves, on our ligaments, and causing a lot of restricted motion. So chiropractic goal is to make sure we keep the joints moving and remove pressure from the nerves so that those nerves can do their job. Your nerves not only can cause pain, tingling, and numbness, they also cause muscle spasms. So a lot of time when I have patients coming in where they've been told they have a muscle spasm or a muscle strain that's causing their pain, their muscle is spasming because there's nerve pressure. Your body's trying to protect and adapt by spasming that muscle and actually trying to stop motion so we can reduce the inflammation in that joint. So it's very important to realize that not only can we have nerve pressure that causes pain, we can also have muscle spasms or even tension, like Charlie horses can also be a symptom of sometimes nerve pressure on a joint. And what's happening is your body is actually spasming those muscles to protect. The other thing that nerve does is it actually supplies organ function. So it supplies blood flow. It supplies actual sensation as well as function to your skin cells. So in many cases where I have patients that have had nerve pressure in an area for a very long period of time, their skin feels different in that area. It may be more oily, it may be more dry because they're not getting the proper oil gland nerve function in that area, or in some cases they may have numbness in that area because the nerve function to that skin is not working properly. So if you're having numbness in any of your extremities or numbness at all near your spine, that may be an indicator that you have nerve pressure. So it's very important to understand that you can have sensational changes, you can have skin changes, and you can also have organ dysfunctions. I've had a lot of patients that have come in my office specifically with headaches and noticed that when we do adjustments and we're restoring nerve function and we're restoring muscle function and we're restoring normal motion to those joints, their headache frequency and intensity goes down significantly, and in some cases their headaches stop just simply because of a chiropractic adjustment. I've also had patients that have had issues with digestion, everything from heartburn to irregular bowel movements, whether that is constipation, diarrhea, or even peristalsis. When we restore nerve function in the mid and lower back, and those nerves that go to the organ systems are working better, they notice that their heartburn symptoms go away. They notice that they're digesting things better. Their energy level has changed. Their body overall is able to feel better and also heal better, because when you restore nerve function, you're restoring your brain's ability to communicate with every single cell, muscle, and organ in your body. So that's what chiropractic is. Now, chiropractic originally started back in 1895 in Davenport, Iowa, and that's where the first college was established in 1897. So chiropractic has been around for a very long time. It's a complementary alternative medicine. So traditionally, we are using methods to help support your body's healing processes rather than just covering up pain signals. So sometimes we do get really quick results, but in some cases, because we have years of damage that have built up to get you to a point, sometimes we actually have to work together with you to make sure we're getting the joints moving and restoring nerve function. We have to work on some of your habits outside of the office and your posture that has contributed to the issue you currently have. And I also incorporate home exercises because I want to get your joints in place and get your pain under control, but I want to make sure we retrain the muscles and ligaments so you get long-term stability and you don't have the same problem over and over and over again. Because let's face it, you don't want to go to a doctor for the same issue forever and expect it to get better. We want to make sure we get to a stability point and teach you how to maintain that for the rest of your life so you don't have that same issue. So if you are having physical joint issues, like I mentioned, headaches, neck pain, back pain, shoulder, elbow, wrist, pretty much any joint in your body. I also sometimes, in some cases, help with cranial nerves that contribute to jaw pain and ear pain as well, and also contribute to headaches and sinus pressure too. But if you're having a physical issue, or you have a family member that has a physical issue and they haven't been checked by a chiropractor, it might be a good idea to get them checked over. Now, when it comes to safety, there are many changes that have been made since 1895 in chiropractic. So adjustments really haven't changed much. We're still doing the same thing by moving the bone, but the way we go about it is very different. So in many offices, we want to make sure we're doing a thorough exam. So we want to make sure we know exactly what is going on with the joints, the nerves, the blood flow. So if there is a risk factor for stroke, or if there's something else going on, we can refer you out appropriately to another doctor to make sure that you have no risk factors where you could be injured by a chiropractic adjustment. Another thing that we can do is also change adjusting style. So there are some chiropractors that have one adjusting style that they use on every single person. That's fine. That's how they run their office. I'm a family office, so that means I do treat babies that are very young, like 2 hours old, and also adults that are older, like 102. I have to tailor care to my patients. So that means I have to have multiple different ways of adjusting and multiple ways of treating different people that have different conditions. I have some patients that are in wheelchairs. I have some patients that have cerebral palsy. I have some patients that have muscular dystrophy. I have some patients that have autism. I have patients that have fibromyalgia or have had previous surgeries. And I have to be able to treat them differently and make sure that I'm able to get relief for them in a gentler manner. So I have about 10 different ways that I adjust. In my office, I typically don't do rotational style of adjusting. That means I don't lay you on your side and twist your spine. I don't lay you on the table or sit in a chair and twist your neck. None of that happens. Typically, the way I adjust is you're laying either on the table, or for kids that can't sit still, we kind of go where they are. And typically, I check the joint motion, do an adjustment, which is very light. I never use more than 3 pounds of pressure. For some patients that have a lot of sensitivity, I also can do more like massage style of adjustments where I'm doing more pressure and resistance. So I'm not doing a very forceful adjustment. And that's comfortable for a lot of different people with a range of conditions. So again, make sure you understand, you don't have to believe in chiropractic. It does work. There's amazing research studies showing that chiropractic helps with not only nerve function, but the healing response in that area, as well as pain relief control without the need of medications. There are many different ways we make it safe in our office, as I mentioned already, and it's very important to realize that we can also treat patients of a range of ages. So if you have any more questions, you can post those in the comments below. And if you've never been to a chiropractor before, I want you to put a comment below. What scares you, or what do you want to know more about, so I can include that in our next video. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week on Health and Horsepower.